Okay, so now we're at part 2 of our drawing, and what I want to show you here is how to use scenes to set up your views and show the different elements of your drawing. The first thing to consider is a camera. Now, a camera is simply a different way of setting up your views, and the important part, obviously in camera, you've got all of these tools that you're probably already familiar with, orbit, pan and zoom and so on. The next step I wanted to show you is the different views. Now, at the moment, we sort of have an isometric view, but it's not a true isometric view. The reason for that, if I click ISO, is that we can see we still have, if I'm just putting a guide here, and the guides are being set up for you here, so that we can sort of see that the drawing has some perspective. And a proper isometric view does not have perspective, because if you remember, there is a baseline and then the projections off to the distance go in a 30-degree line. They sit on that 30-degree plane. So the proper way to look at a isometric is to change the projection. So at the moment, and by default in your drawings, you will have perspective. If we click on parallel projection, what that means is that all of the lines vertically are displayed parallel to each other. So I'll click that on parallel, and you can see now the changes. Our guides are actually equidistant from each other, so they will be the same there as they will be down here. So remember that when you're setting up your views and you want an isometric view, you'll have a parallel projection. Now let's just flick over to the drawing that I've been using, and we'll look at these different scenes. What I've got is a pictorial view, which effectively is just any view that I want, and I might just have it like that and say that can be our pictorial. It doesn't matter. When I call it an isometric view, that is a true isometric view where the verticals are parallel to each other and these lines off to the side occur at 30 degrees. If I wanted to have a top view, what I've done is hidden the cushion top, and the lines, all of the drawings, if you like, are in a plan view. So they don't show any perspective. And what we can do is look at camera and change it to perspective. And you can see there how we have a perspective view going off to a center point in the distance. And I can rotate that and it's still in perspective. So if I go back to this, the top view that we have, as you'll get, is in a parallel projection. So most of your scenes, aside from that pictorial view that I had over here, will be set up to be parallel projection. Now, what I can do is have a look and say, have a look at the back view, bring that down, and again, that's in a parallel projection. By changing those, we've got different scenes. Now, the benefit of scenes, of course, is that we can then start setting up our drawing to have different views of different components from the different elevations. And what we might do is just flick back to our class drawing so that you can see how we set up scenes. Now that you know how to use camera by clicking through the standard views and you understand the difference between parallel and perspective projections, what we will do is set up some scenes. Now I'm just going to get rid of those guides that I put in line there so that we for the demo. And you know that there are two ways to get rid of the guides. One is to click View Guides, and that will just simply turn them on or off. But the other way to get rid of the guides is just to delete them, because we can always remake guides if we want, and it's cleaner not to have tons of guides everywhere. So in getting to scenes is pretty simple. They're just like, I don't know, setting up different views. So all you need to do is go to Scenes, Window, Scenes, and then on the Scenes box that pops up, you should have a view like this with a little plus that's ready to be clicked, and it says Add Scene. And the other thing you've got is Hide Details or Show Details. So if your Scenes window looks like that, what you need to do is find this button and click it, and what it'll do is give you the detail that we're after here. And the first thing I want to do is, let's say, just have a pictorial view. So I'm going to go Camera, I'm going to click it in Perspective, and I don't care for which view this is. I might just click ISO, but really I'm going to hit O for orbit and just turn it around and say, yeah, that'll be the view of my chair that I like. So I'm going to call this first scene because that's set up just the way I want to see it. I'm going to click the plus, and then what I need to do is go down to the name, and I'm going to double click it and change it to Pictorial. And now you can see that a little tab or a button has popped up, and that says Pictorial View. The next thing I will do is go to Camera, Parallel Projection, and I might just click Top, Standard Views Top. And that's now going to show me this scene as a top view. But let's say I did not want, and I'll go back to orbit a little bit. Let's say I would, just so you can see this, get rid of this top part here. What I can do is go View, pardon me. What I can do is click it to select it, right click and go Hide. And now what I've done is hidden that piece of plywood on the top, because that really conceals a lot of the detail in the top of the legs. And I'm going to go back to Camera, Standard Views Top, and I now have a parallel projection of the top view of our chair. And we might as well keep this view because we need a top view. So I'm going to press plus and just double click that, top, press enter, and that's locked in. Now I might go to my camera again and go for a different view. This time let's get an ISO view, isometric view, and we'll zoom out a little bit so it's all there on the scene to see. And you can see already that our camera is set up to be in parallel. That's perspective, but we do want it in parallel. So that's a proper isometric view. I'm going to click plus, change that to ISO. And then what we might do is have a right view. So I'll go to camera again, standard views, and we'll just say right. And now we have a nice view. And I'm just zooming in a little bit there, probably about there. And I'm going to add that scene. And then we'll have a camera, standard views, front. Nothing really changes because the right side and the front side are practically identical for this product because they have the same dimensions on the front and the right side, but I'll give it a front anyway so you know what the process is. Now from there, what we might do is go back to our top view, let's say. So now that we've clicked on top, it animates or rotates around. Actually, let's go to ISO. What we're going to do is just select everything. So I click one, press shift and keep clicking, and that allows me to multiply select or deselect things, or of course I can just drag over left to right, and everything that's touching in that bounding box will be selected. That for whatever reason didn't get selected because I already had it selected, so I just shift clicking those. And what I'm going to do there is go right click, hide, not delete, just hide. And now I'm left with just one chair leg. What I might do now is go camera, standard views, and we'll go for a, let's say a right. Zoom in a little bit to get it nice. And I'm going to create another view, and I'm going to put that leg detail right. And then we can change the view, and we can go camera, standard views, front. And we can click there, another scene, and call that leg detail left. So now you can see that up the top we're starting to collect a couple of different views and so on. So what I haven't done yet, let's have a look. I've got the leg detail from the left and from the right, but I haven't got a view from above on the leg. So rather than, I could go back to top, hide all those things, and then create a new view, or perhaps it's easier just to look at the leg because everything else is already hidden in this view. So we're sort of borrowing from the view that we've selected, in which case it's leg detail right, and I'm going to go camera, standard views top, and I'll zoom in on that. And I'm going to create another view there. leg detail top, and then I'll go back to my, let's have a look here. I think I'll go to my ISO because it's easier, that way I can select everything. Here what I want to do, I'm going to select everything, and then I'm just going to shift click that apron or rail and hide everything, sorry. So I will right click hide, and now what I'm going to do is change my camera view to, we'll have a look at what top is. We can do that. I'll create another view. Rail detail top. Camera, we'll go to standard views and we might go to the front view and see what's doing there. And I've zoomed in on that. Just pop it in the center. Whoops. And I've made a mistake. Now what we can see here, I was about to create a new scene, and somewhere I've typed H. I can't remember what that view was. It's probably easier just to undo that. And keep undoing until, no, I can't undo the change. So that's a bit of a mess. Let's have a look here. We had top ISO. I can't even remember what it was. I'm not going to worry about it. You get the picture for what I do here. I can just edit that. Actually, in fact, here, this is what we'll do. I click on the view. The view's still current, even though the name's changed. So I'm going to have a look at that and say, what is that view? Well, that was the rail detail top. So I'm just going to double click in there. Rail detail top, press enter. Now I want to have the rail detail end view. So if I go to front and zoom in, create a new scene, and go back to camera and standard views. Let's have a look at the right side of that and zoom out there. So we could put that view in. Now, the process of putting together all these scenes is handy if you want to show someone your drawing. However, what is most important for this is that these views can then be saved within the drawing, and when we go to layout, which is a very, very powerful tool for presenting our drawing and showing all their dimensions and details and so on and so on, those views are available in layout, so we simply click and take advantage of them. But we're not doing layout for the moment, so this is probably the end of this tutorial in showing you how to set up your drawing to show different scenes. What you can do, although I am not quite certain on the best way to handle this, I need to do a bit more figuring, is if you're not using layout and you want to be able to show your drawing with dimensions, the issue I have with SketchUp, there might be a simple fix, and if anyone works it out, please let me know. What I've done here is just clicked on my dimensioning tool, and I've selected two endpoints. So I simply click on the first, hover over to the second, click again to lock it off, and then go up, and we've got 18 millimeters. Now the first thing I can tell you is that we don't need 18.0 millimeters. So if we go to Model Info, which was Window Model Info, I should change my precision there to 0, not 0.0. I don't need 1/10 of a millimeter. So by pressing enter and locking that in, it actually changes our dimension to 18 millimeters. And from there, what we could do perhaps is put in another dimension. We'll dimension that, go down. Now, that is not standardized dimensioning because that leader should not cross over these lines of the drawing. It gets very complex or messy, if you like, and it's not a standard way of doing our drawings. So that's where SketchUp layout rather is more powerful, because we can edit those quite easily. I believe I can, I won't try to double click and mess up this tutorial, but we might just put in one more dimension there on this side. We can go out there, and on the inside we could put a dimension. So from a a more basic presentation point of view, that's possibly not a bad way to go. The issue is that now that we've done these dimensions, they will be visible, as you can see. We've got the leader lines at least from the other views. And that's really messy because you now do not want to have your views with all those dimensions. Now it may be possible, I'm going to actually try something here by right-clicking hiding, and then because I'm in Pictorial View, I've hidden that view. And I'm going to go back to, I might click Zoom Extents. I've still got some dimensions there that are visible. I just want to select those without, you can see it's a bit pesky. What I'll do is go around, select those by clicking the dimension just itself, pressing plus to select that. I'll right click and hide that as well. And then I'm going to actually go to Camera, ISO, I'll hit Orbit, and let's just say that's the view that we want. I still actually have that dimension, so I'm right clicking and going hide there. Now maybe, I might go around this way. Let's just say that's our pictorial. So what I've done is I've hidden our dimensions. I've reorganized my view to something that's suitable, and I need to now update this scene. So I'm going to press update, and hopefully this will work. It's asking me what do I want to update, and I'm going to say update everything. Now when I go to, which was the one with the dimensions there, our rail detail front, those dimensions on this view are visible. That's excellent. That's what I'm after. So I haven't, even though I hid them in that view, they're now still visible in this view. So I can press pictorial and it has worked. What it's done is hidden those dimensions. What we would need to do is in every drawing, or in every scene rather, go through and hide. Just see if I can select. Sometimes if you can't select, here we go. I'm going to shift, drag it from right to left. See, I'm heading down in a left direction and I've got a dotted line. That means it's going to select everything that's within or touching that line. And now I will hover over it, right click it. It's annoying when it doesn't work. I might go view, hide, edit, hide, pardon me. So that scene there, I have been able to hide the dimensions from the rail detail front. And what about I put in some more dimensions? Now what I want to do is have an overall length. So I will click to the extent of the leg, and you can see that's 300. And then for this one, what I'll do is put a dot to there and to there. I'll do it again from there. So that's 15 millimeters there. And we would need one more. And I'll try to lock it off, try to see if it does. It's not snapping to there. Again, layout is a lot better for doing dimensioning. But that's okay. We've got a scene and we've got our dimension. So now that I've put those dimensions in, I'm going to update this scene. So remember, that's the update button. We'll click that, accept that, and now when we go to rail detail front, we've got those dimensions, the original ones we did, but we've still got these extra ones, and that's where we need to try to select those. And I'm not sure whether this is going to let me do it that way. And I'm going to hide. For some reason it doesn't like right clicking when that dimension is selected. So they're hidden. I'll zoom back in. I'll update that scene. And then I can go back to this scene. Those dimensions are hidden. but these dimensions are here, but the rail detail front dimensions are hidden. So I don't know, have a go at that, see what you can do, if you can manage to get all of your views with dimensioning set up and hidden from the other scenes. Now when we click rail detail or leg detail right, you can see those dimensions are there. So you're going to need to hide all of the dimensions in the scenes you don't want and then include them and update them in the scene over here. And that is your drawing. The final thing I'll show you in using scenes, if you want, if you go to camera, sorry guys, I'm wondering why. There, it is there. Sorry, view animation. So animation allows us to view all of the different scenes in a way that kind of animates the drawing. What we can do is just look at settings quickly, and you can say enable scene transitions, and we'll have, let's just have a 2 seconds, that's the default, and we'll give it a 1 second delay between each scene. So I'm happy with that. I think they're the default. Go to view, animation, play. And if we wait a second or two, it should flick to the different scenes. And that's not a bad way perhaps to present your different drawings. But you can see that we need some updating on the different scenes. So I hope that's of interest and help, and I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you.